War Gods was released by Midway in 1996. It was one of the earliest 3D fighting games. It should have been a big hit, because I always loved War Gods. People strongly resented it, because Midway fans wanted Mortal Kombat in 3D, instead of a bunch of new fighters. And that's honestly about it. Talk about an extremely shitty reason to dislike and ignore a video game. There is a very telling moment in the Insert Coin movie documentary about Midway, when they were talking about War Gods, and they pinned two groups of teams against each other in their own company. And if you were on the War Gods team, and you tried to walk into a room where the Mortal Kombat team was, the MK team would just slam the door in your face. What a bunch of bullshit. There are other ways to make great video games than to pin two teams against one another. This is the same kind of bullshit that ruined Conquer the Squirrel by changing 12 Tales into Bad Fur Day. But back to War Gods. Another bullshit thing that was stated in the documentary was that War Gods was exactly like Mortal Kombat. Which is true, but it was stated like it was a horrible thing. It's similar to Mortal Kombat. That's what makes it cool. It's not a bad thing. I also hated in the doc when they showed a review for War Gods, which called it, quote, god-awful. And then after they show that, they move on to the next game in the documentary, as if that's what the legacy of War Gods is. They trashed their own game in the documentary, and acted like War Gods was a failure, and it wasn't. Other magazines of the day gave War Gods good reviews. Nintendo Magazine System gave the game a 73%, Consoles Plus magazine gave it an 87%, and GamePro issue number 105 gave it a 70%. Not everyone hated War Gods back in the day. Some people just strongly disliked that it wasn't a new 3D Mortal Kombat game, because in the mid-90s, 3D fighting games became all the rage, with games like Tekken and Virtua Fighter. Mortal Kombat 4 did arrive 1 year later in 1997, and was a big hit, so the quality of War Gods as a game was never into consideration when it came to these gamer buffoons. This is the same kind of shitty mindset people have that diss Digimon and act like it's just a Pokemon clone. Meanwhile, Digimon rules, and so does Pokemon. They never were exactly the same thing. Jeez. I love War Gods, and I think it has some very thrilling aspects and some very cool design choices. It also plays quite well. War Gods was ported to the PS1 and the Nintendo 64 in 1997, and the PS1 version is cool, but the N64 version is way better. And War Gods is one of my favorite Nintendo 64 games. The game is much quicker, and there's 0 loading times. The PS1 version has a loading screen in between each match, and even a loading screen appears just before you perform a special move. But the good old N64 doesn't have that problem. The plot of the game says that a spaceship crashed on Earth long ago when the Earth was young, and 10 humans find the shards of this life-giving ore, which then transformed them all into the War Gods, like Anubis and Maximus. They now fight one another to decide who is the ultimate War God. Pretty cool plot. I guess looking at Mortal Kombat, you could say that Raiden and Goro are kinda like gods in a way, so it's similar to Mortal Kombat. But again, this is a cool thing, not a shitty thing. The War Gods are Exor, Maximus, Ahua King, Anubis, Warhead, Sci-Fi, Voodoo, Vala, Kabuki Joe, Pagan, Tak, and Grok. These are some super creative godlike characters for you to play as, which are mostly based on old god folklore, even though there is only one god, one Jesus Christ. But it's still cool and fun to be able to play as some of these old legends of the past. Exor is the main god. He appears on the box art for the game releases, and is featured all over the arcade machine. He's the coolest. His mysterious image and glowing eyes make him a huge highlight in the marketing of the game in the late 90s. Exor is also the final boss in the game. You can unlock him as a secret character in the N64 and PS1 versions, with using codes. The special moves of each god are extremely cool and very detailed, and the graphics take their time showing them off, like a mini cinematic experience in the game. Very cool and fun stuff. The levels are also really great. They make you really want to go exploring in them, and it sucks that you can't. Also, many of the levels are based off of each god. Now, even though I love War Gods, my one complaint is that the game is a little too bare bones. It doesn't have many levels to play in, and there is barely any options to explore. Using secret cheat codes can give you access to other things, which is cool, but I mean, the regular way to play it seems like there should be some more stuff here. But after you play the game for only a few minutes, you pretty much have seen it all already. At least for the most part. So War Gods is short, but sweet, which is annoying to me. I want much more, 'cause this is great stuff. They moved on real quick from War Gods and into Mortal Kombat 4, and there was never War Gods 2, or even an upgrade to the original version. So what you're left with is tons of untapped potential. Yeah, so the same people that dissed War Gods are the same ones that immediately dissed Kasumi Ninja for the Atari Jaguar, for being very similar to Mortal Kombat, without even playing the game. I love War Gods. It gets an unfair rap. It's a great, but short, classic mid-90s 3D arcade game. It has excellent color, charming graphics, a name that's cool as hell, and it's a perfect example to show people that the N64 actually did have great fighting games that were as good as the PS1 fighting games. But I'll make another video about that. I give War Gods an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please like and subscribe, and please hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my uploads. Have a fantastic month, and, all that other good stuff. And maybe you'll like War Gods if you give it a second try. My name is SuperPat98, and I'll see you all again next time.